You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now. Major League Soccer is no longer a retirement home for European players and no longer willing to offer vast contracts to former stars. It's now quick and entertaining. It's largely played in purpose-built stadiums, and it's known as a destination for young talent rather than a final stop for those already over the hill. And all of this makes MLS increasingly popular. But what it doesn't do is necessarily explain why its franchises are surprisingly valuable. So how valuable are we talking? Well, according to sports business website Sportico, MLS's top 3 most valuable franchises, as of 2021, are Los Angeles FC, Atlanta United, and LA Galaxy, valued at $860 million, $845 million, and $835 million respectively. Even at the other end of the list, down in 27th place, the Colorado Rapids are estimated to be worth somewhere in the region of $370 million. Now, in the overall context of North American sport, that's not much. In August 2021, Forbes estimated the average NFL franchise to be worth $2.48 billion. But for a league in which the average attendance is just over 21,000 and the competition's broadcasting contract pays just $90 million per season, these are eyebrow-raising figures, particularly compared with other football-specific examples. Less than 2 years ago, Mike Ashley was reportedly willing to sell Newcastle United for $415 million, and West Ham United, who are currently subject to takeover interest, are estimated to be worth about $508 million. Good enough for 17th place on Sportico's list. So can that be right? And if so, why and how? Well, these numbers are just theory, of course. But such value is described by the actual sums paid for stakes in MLS franchises in recent years. In February 2020, Cardiff City owner Vincent Tan sold just 10% of LAFC for $70 million. The previous year, in July 2019, NBA star James Harden purchased a minority stake in the Houston Dynamo for $15 million. A month before, in June of 2019, Morningstar founder Joe Mansueto paid $322 million for ownership of the Chicago Fire, a team just 3 years removed from back-to-back wooden spoon seasons. So it's clearly an attractive investing environment, and the level of demand is best described by the inflation in expansion fees that MLS has been able to collect, as the competition grows towards becoming a 29-team league in 2023. Back in 2007, Toronto joined MLS, having paid $10 million. The same year, as part of his playing contract, David Beckham was assured the right to purchase a future franchise for $25 million. Now, these were quaint fees. In 2013, New York City FC paid an expansion fee of $150 million, as did Cincinnati in 2019, Nashville 2020, and Austin in 2021. In 2022, Charlotte FC will take their place in the league, and it will be after David Tepper, who also owns the NFL's Carolina Panthers, paid a staggering $325 million. It's a trend that makes MLS an outlier, even in the hyper-capitalist world of US sport. According to a March 2021 article written by The Athletic's Sam Stejskal, the average percentage increase MLS saw in its team's Forbes valuations from 2018 to 2019 was nearly triple that of the NBA and NFL, and roughly 4 times the increases seen in MLB and NHL in the same period. It's an amazing figure, especially so given that very few of the franchises are profitable, and that, as of pre-pandemic figures, only 3 clubs had revenues in excess of $50 million. In fact, in 2018, the 23 teams that took part made a collective loss of $100 million. But the revenues earned by the individual franchises are only one part of the investor equation. With ownership comes stakes in Soccer United Marketing, a subsidiary which has near total control over soccer's commercial interests in the United States. In addition to negotiating MLS's television and marketing interests, it also handles the commercial rights of the USSF and CONCACAF. And it's lucrative. According to a 2019 estimate from Forbes, SUM, which is wholly owned by the league investors, is worth around $2 billion, with annual revenues of $350 million. And it's estimated that some clubs derive more than 40% of their value from those holdings alone. It creates a distinction between the variety of ownership found in European football, which is a more traditional kind of stakeholding tied to a team's rise and fall, and ownership within the MLS model, where the franchises are really commodities and the investment is in not only the league, but the game itself. The gamble seems to be that both remain within a growth phase, and that's a key advantage MLS has over more traditional North American sports. Unlike the NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB, soccer is nowhere near reaching its potential, and yet there's every reason to believe that it will continue to push towards it, and for reasons beyond just the big, boisterous crowds in Atlanta and Seattle. Soccer theoretically appeals to a broader range of American society, and obviously to its vast Hispanic population. But it's also favoured by a younger demographic too. A 2019 survey carried out among US watchers of the English Premier League discovered that over 55% were 45 years old or younger. Last season, broadcaster NBC reported an average total viewership across their various platforms of 879,000 per Premier League game, which was both a 2% rise on the year before and double that of the average NHL broadcast. In July 2021, 9.4 million viewers also watched the European Championship final between England and Italy, a 59% rise on the 2016 final between Portugal and France. Italy's win at Wembley was also seen by more viewers than, on average, watched the first 3 games of the NBA Finals. Now, of course, the Premier League and European Championship are not MLS, but their audiences provide evidence of appetite. And the US isn't far away from hosting its second World Cup, alongside Canada and Mexico in 2026. In 1994, the momentum generated led to MLS's original launch, and the expectation this time is for a much bigger jolt, and presumably an even bigger boost to a now developed footballing environment. They are caveats, of course. Expansion and the revenues associated with it cannot carry on forever, not without damaging the quality of the league. And more importantly, while US eyes will doubtless be drawn to the World Cup, MLS franchises won't hold that attention if its product is inferior. But clearly, investors and owners understand that, and the vast sums of money they continue to pour into the league would indicate that it's a risk that they are willing to take.
Tifo merch, coming to find what you're looking for. Tifo merch. Put it on your body and drink out of it. From the grasslands of Australia to the peaks and plains of Antarctica and through the rivers of North America comes a shop of merch that is so damn cool that it's really cool. So cool you have to buy all the merchandise. Buy the merchandise. Come in and buy all our merchandise. Looky right here, there's merchandise, but your merchandise. Gotta get your hands on the merchandise. Buy the merch.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic brings you the best sports journalism in the world in a personalised experience, connecting you with the stories and teams that you care about the most. There's coverage of 13 sports, plus direct access to world-class journalists through live Q&As, discussions and podcasts. Not to mention, it's all ad-free. And you can try it now for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.